So Joyride came out in 2001, and it's kind of like the modern version of The Hitcher, where it's a little bit of like a highway mystery thriller slasher, in which you got Paul Walker, Steve Zahn. You have these two brothers, they play Fuller and Lewis. They're traveling across the country to pick up Lewis's girlfriend, Venna. So the two brothers in this movie are a complete paradox. Fuller's a complete dipshit, always in and out of trouble. Lewis is always covering his back. In this, he's getting out of jail. Lewis is crossing the country. He's picking him up on the way to pick up Venna. And he has this little fling starting with his girlfriend where they talk on the phone every night. It's like so cutesy. And the older brother just doesn't get it at all because, as I said, he's kind of a dipshit and he's kind of just like the raunchy brother of the two. And because he's the raunchy of the older two brothers, as people used to do in the early 2000s before everyone got mad and offended by everything, the two of them decide they're going to prank somebody like people actually used to do. So the car that Lewis buys has a CB radio in it, which if you're unfamiliar with, it's kind of like what you talk to truckers with. When they're driving across country, they hear this guy.
It's gonna rain hard tonight. Keeps everybody inside, you know.
What the hell's with this guy?
And he has like this grainy voice. He sounds kind of like a creepy weirdo. So they say, let's fuck with this guy. So what Paul Walker's character does, because his older brother's peer pressuring him, is he acts like he's a girl to one of these truckers. And he has this guy meet them at a hotel, tells him to buy pink champagne, says his name's Candy Cane. He's using like this, oh, my name's Candy Cane, talking like a girl.
Well, I guess I'll be seeing you later on tonight, is that right?
Because they have to stop during the road trip anyways, they decide that they're going to rent the room next to the room they're telling him to meet them at. So the brothers need to stop at a hotel during the road trip. So they stop at this hotel in the middle of the night. There's kind of this big burly guy, but he's kind of being a dick and a racist to the guy who runs the hotel. So the two brothers decide, let's fuck with this guy because he was annoying to us. He like bumped into me. So let's have the trucker that we were talking to over the CB radio meet this guy for a date in room 17 next to ours, and we'll see how it goes and we can fuck with both of them at the same time. And to keep the spoiler short, the trucker shows up, kind of gets pissed, bad shit happens, the brothers down to know they're fucked now. And from there, you're going to be in the middle of like a cat and mouse game between the trucker and the brothers as they cross the country to pick up the girlfriend. There's going to be chases. There's going to be like surprise scenes. And immediately the number one positive of this movie is, my God, is this movie fun? You will find yourself smiling and laughing during this movie. There's some funny lines. There's some thrilling lines. This movie's just an absolute blast to watch if you somehow haven't seen it. Contrary to another movie I just did a review on, Event Horizon, I feel like this movie's well known because of Paul Walker. The acting is absolutely great. I've always loved Steve Zahn, especially in A Perfect Getaway. If you've never seen that movie, go watch that one too. I'll probably review that at some point. I've always loved that movie. Steve Zahn's really good at playing like the dick of an older brother. He's really good at like comedic timing and his little quips. You really actually feel like he's selling you on the fact that the older brother's like a dropout dipshit and he just doesn't care. And on the contrary, as I said, Paul Walker's kind of the good brother. Paul Walker's absolutely great in this. This dude's smile is just absolutely contagious. Rest in peace to Paul Walker. I really miss seeing this guy on the screen. I just feel like he was one of those guys in and out of acting who was just a contagious guy. Like the world's just a little bit less bright with him not being in it because everything he was in, all of the screen time, all of the interviews, I feel like he had nothing but a smile. He just brought positivity to every role he was in, and he's just absolutely great in this. If you're familiar with other horror movies, Silence of the Lambs, the character Buffalo Bill, maybe you've seen the detective show Monk, Captain Stoudemire, Ted Levine plays the trucker named Rusty Nail, and most of his stuff is just going to be over a CB radio, so it's his voice. But if you're familiar with his voice, kind of as like an older Westerner voice, it's so iconic. He's so good in this as the voice over the radio.
I need to find Candy Cane.
Candy Cane. And from this point on, if you haven't seen this movie already, please go watch it, then come back, because I'm going to get into some spoilers now and talk about the plot of the movie. But you've been warned, from this point forward, the spoilers are coming. What I really love about this movie, aside from the fact that it's just such a blast to watch, is every time I watch this movie, I really love the progression they do of the story of Rusty Nail messing with the brothers. I always like in this movie how it doesn't show its hand too early, how it kind of has like a two halves of the movie where they're kind of messing with each other. It kind of goes back to, oh, it's a somber tone. They picked up the girlfriend, then it picks back up again. I really like how Rusty Nail in this has like a lot of opportunities to get them bad, and he kind of is just waiting for the perfect opportunity. He kind of keeps making these quips about how he's just pranking him too. I really like how they lean into the fact that it's not just a full-fledged slasher, but he's really fucking with the brothers to get them back. There's a couple of scenes in this movie, no matter how many times I've seen it, that are so iconic. I always laugh and I crack up at, like when they're sent into the restaurant butt naked, they have to order 12 cheeseburgers. And probably my favorite scene in the movie, and it's not even a scary scene, is when Rusty Nail calls him in his hotel and says, your brother's next door with your girlfriend. Paul Walker freaks out, goes over there, and he's like, Yeah, that's actually a pretty fucking good question he's asking while I'm over here. No matter how many times I've seen this movie, I always laugh my ass off at that scene because of how well Paul Walker delivers that line. The movie, aside from the lighthearted tone, the fun, the funny quips, honestly has some gnarly ass practical effects too. They kind of get you with one in a hospital bed really early on. And when you get to the end of this movie, I definitely think it goes full thriller rated R, and I think the hotel scene's like highly effective even 25 years later. I think the thing they do at the door with the shotgun is super intense. I watched this with a person the other day who'd never seen it, and they were absolutely biting their hand during it. I don't know, that's like the greatest joy to me. Whenever I refer a movie to someone, I show a movie to someone for the first time, one of my favorites, and they're just like loving it. They're on the edge of their seat. Both of the people that watched this with me absolutely adored it, and they thought it was a great movie. They were like, oh, every time that's on now, I'm throwing it on. And apparently they went on to make like 2 or 3 more of these, like in a sequence of slashers, and I never really had any interest in those because I always viewed this as a fun little standalone thriller. If you've seen the other 2 and you think they're any decent, comment down below, let me know. Maybe I will watch them, but I don't know. But obviously, if you're still here, I'm assuming you've seen this. If not, go watch it, please. This movie is so good. You will have a good time. This is a great movie, even for lighthearted horror fans. It's not too intense, not too practical. And yeah, another movie I just wanted to bring some light to, I wanted to talk about. I love this movie. I always like talking about movies I like more than shitting on movies, even though those get the best views. So have you seen this movie? I really hope you have. Comment down below. Let me know. And if you haven't seen this movie, I'm going to keep begging. Please go watch it. Come back. Let me know what you think. And as always, I'm going to put a link to my other videos up here if you want to watch me talk about some other scary stuff, some new releases. There's going to be some more scary stuff coming, some more scary movie reviews mixed in with the new releases. I'm going to try to get back into talking about some of my favorite old movies, maybe catching up on some of the series like the Halloweens, the Friday the 13th, Chucky's, doing some ranking, things like that, because I really am a horror fan at heart, but I do also like the new releases. If you are into the new releases or scary stuff specifically, be sure to subscribe because there's going to be a ton of new content coming. Comment down below, let me know what movies you want to review. If there's some older movies, some of your favorites, maybe I'll get to those ones, some series rankings. But yeah, this video is going to be brief. Just got the marathon and some scary movies this weekend. Wanted to hit on some classics. That's all I got in this one. Catch you next one. Peace.